I'm super happy and super excited to welcome all of you to Fyrtornet, the lighthouse of Malmö, where we have the Malmö showroom. And we have some great things ahead of us tonight that we're going to launch together. But first, a question. How many of you do actually need a PV system or a solar panel? A couple of you, but I don't think you really need it, right? The thing you need electricity. That's your need. And we have some urgent things to fix as well. How many of you do actually need a planet to live on? All of you, right? And this is what 1KOMMA5 is all about. It's to deliver electricity, but overall, is to actually save the world. That's where we have the name. And to present this, I have a lot of friends with me, but first I would like to introduce myself. I'm David Sederman, and I'm the country CEO of Sweden. And I will take part here during the presentation tonight. And first on stage, we have Yannick, our global CPO, and also one of the co-founders of the group 1KOMMA5.
Thank you. Thank you, David. It's so great to be here in this fantastic showroom. We have now, I think, almost 30 showrooms around the world. And of course, I have to say this is one of the most beautiful ones. But even more importantly, we're here tonight to celebrate the next step in the evolution of Heartbeat AI. And when we founded this company a little bit over 4 years ago, we came up with a vision to live on wind and sunlight forever for free. And we know it sounds bold. It's supposed to sound bold. And we also know it's possible. And tonight, we're making a big step to get closer to this vision. Before we dive into all of the good stuff we brought, I want to take a step back and look at the status quo, because we still rely on a lot of fossil fuel for our mobility, our heating, our electricity. And there's many problems with fossil fuels, but one of them is their primary energy is very expensive. We need to drill, dig, pump, and refine material, ship it all over the world in order to feed it to complex machinery, right? To get us from point A to point B to generate electricity or just to heat our apartments and houses. And we're doing all of that still in an incredible extent. We're spending billions and billions and billions, and we're buying this stuff from, let's say, places that sometimes are not exactly sharing our values. So, of course, you're now wondering what's the answer, and you already know it. It's renewable energy. And one of the great things about wind and solar in particular is that the primary energy is free. You don't need to drill, you don't need to dig. It's just there. So, problem solved, right? But you know, there is a small challenge. And of course, it's the volatility of renewable energy, right? So there's 8,760 hours in a year. And in Europe, you get roughly 2,000 hours of solar electricity generation a year. And with wind, it's a little more than that, but there remains a gap. So let's talk about that gap. Why does it exist in the first place? It exists, in simple words, because our consumption doesn't follow the production. Or, in other words, it's because we're not in sync with wind and sun. We're not living in the rhythm of Mother Nature, right? And, of course, if we look at a little more scientific data, from Sweden, actually, from this summer, you can clearly see why that is. So the yellow line indicates solar generation, so the availability of solar electricity in Sweden. And the gray line indicates the accumulated load, so the energy consumption of the entire country of Sweden. And you can clearly see that they do not exactly overlap, right? So at times when there's lots of solar available in abundance, there's so much electricity available at times that prices go negative because there's nowhere we can put it. David will actually dive a bit deeper into that in a second. So what do we have to do to restore the balance, to resolve the disharmony? This is the fundamental question this company is about. How can we reconnect with Mother Nature, so to speak, and live in the rhythm of wind and sunlight? We came up with a master plan. It has 3 simple steps. Electrify everything. And this first one is particularly important because it's a very basic one. Electricity is the most efficient form of energy. It is much more efficient to use 1 kilowatt hour of electricity to heat a home or to power a vehicle compared to fossil fuels. That's a fact. And the second one is, I think, also a no-brainer. We need to accelerate the rollout, the adoption of this technology. And the third one, that's the most interesting one actually, is connect everything. Let's really quickly talk about where we are on step 1 and 2, and then we're going to spend a lot of time talking about step 3. The first step and our first goal was to become a one-stop shop. What's a one-stop shop? It's somebody who can provide you with all things energy. And this is why we're a company that provides heating, solar, batteries, charging, even air conditioning in some countries. And we want to bring it to our customers in a way that they can experience it and touch it and feel it. And this is why, as I said earlier, all over the world we have these beautiful showrooms, places where we can bring people together and explain how our technology works. In Hamburg, in Munich, in Berlin, but also in Adelaide in Australia, in Copenhagen, right across the bridge, in Helsinki in Finland, and of course in Malmö, and many, many, many more places around the world. We're now live at over 80 locations in 7 countries. We have over 2,500 really talented people working for us, some of them present in this room tonight. And most importantly, and now we're getting closer to the third step, we've deployed over 300,000 steerable assets. What does steerable assets mean? Devices like chargers, batteries, heat pumps, solar systems. And if you combine the electrical power of the assets we've connected to our Heartbeat AI, we get a virtual power plant with over 500 megawatts of capacity. So, connect everything. This is, as I said, the important one. To restore the balance, we've created a software called Heartbeat AI. And the single purpose of this software is to connect to all of those things: chargers, heat pumps, solar systems, batteries, and synchronize them with the energy market and, in the end of the day, with the rhythm of wind and sunlight. Always procuring the cheapest and cleanest electricity available to our customers. Sometimes it comes from their solar. Some of them don't have solar. Then we use the grid and the spot market to procure the cheapest electricity available. And even more importantly, we narrow it down to one number, something we call the heartbeat price, explaining to our customers what they're effectively paying for each kilowatt hour they use. And of course, it's going to be brought to you in a beautiful app, which, spoiler alert, we're releasing to Sweden tonight. And if you look at energy in general, there's a fundamental question every company in this industry needs to answer. It's about philosophy, because there's two ways to do energy. And the first one, we call it old energy, works like this. A middleman, energy retailer or utility, connects to the energy market and resells, redistributes electricity to millions of customers. And they make money by selling this electricity. And even in this new age where we have batteries and solar and all of those great things, there's still companies who, for example, let's say, take a battery and optimize it, isolate it, right? So you take 1,000 of them, maybe 2,000 of them, and you optimize them to do one specific thing to maximize the profits of the middleman. Our approach is different. We believe that we need to cut the middleman and we need to connect our customers directly to the energy market with no middleman, and even more importantly, we need to optimize every single one of them individually, not aggregated in pools like we do it over here. We need to optimize every single charger, every single battery, every single asset out there. And actually we do it for every quarter hour of the day. So if we take all of the decisions we had to make, every quarter hour is a decision. All of the decisions we made for our customers, Heartbeat AI calculated for our customers in 2025, we get to this number. It's so big it doesn't fit the screen, but I give you a hint, there's a few more zeros. It's over 1 billion decisions Heartbeat AI has calculated for our customers in this year alone. So, where do we stand after a little over 4 years with 1KOMMA5?
Our Earth has a heartbeat, a quiet rhythm of wind and sunlight. We've been disconnected for far too long. From nature, from each other. What if your home could return to that rhythm? New technologies are leading us back. To live with the wind, to dance in the sunlight, to energy that's not just clean, but free. 4 years ago, we set out with a vision. Today, over 100,000 homes are powered by the Earth's rhythm. Together, we're building a future where energy is not owned, but shared, for everyone and forever. Our Earth has a heartbeat. Are you ready to tune in?
All right, so what we're trying to do and what we're trying to be here is the last energy supplier people will ever need. And I've talked about optimization, so how do we optimize each asset and each individual customer? So far, we've unlocked 2 dimensions. We optimize solar, so we distribute excess solar to batteries and chargers and heat pumps. We did the same thing with the energy market. So we connect to the spot market and make sure we always buy at the lowest point. And now comes the third dimension. And the third dimension is, to me personally, the most important one, because everybody benefits from it. And the third dimension is the grid. Because if we optimize the grid, we reduce the necessity to build more cables and deploy more copper, and everybody saves. And you will see in a moment that the Swedish grid in particular is under a lot of stress. but it's very similar in all of the European countries with the adoption of a lot of renewables. So we need to unlock this third dimension, and we're tonight actually presenting something that hasn't been done before. And I'm very excited to hand it back over to David, who will walk you through the details. Thank you.
Thank you, Yannick. And now, very, very soon, we are coming to the core. What are we actually launching? But first, a little bit about how the Swedish market has changed. The energy market has changed the last couple of years only. So if you're only looking back like 15 years in time, wind did actually scale up a lot in the Swedish energy mix. And then the last couple of years, PV has increased a lot from being 0.5% to be 5% of our energy mix. And this creates a new energy landscape. So as of now, we actually have 3 firsts. They are quite equal. 2 of them are renewables, 1 is not. We have hydropower, that is 38%. We have nuclear power, that is 28%. Soon, very soon, beaten by sun and wind, that is 27%. And then we have some other coming from district heating. So this is the new energy landscape. And it is a fantastic trend we have. I would say renewables is the only way to enable the energy transition. But it also affects the behavior of the market. So if we only look during the last 3 years, a lot has changed. The first thing is fantastic. We're talking about living on sun and wind forever for free. And this is actually happening. It's happening now. If we look in 2022, we have 29 hours of energy for free during that year. 1 year later, in Sweden, in Malmö area, we have 410 hours of free energy, where we have either 0 or minus prices in the spot market. And last year, it did increase from 22 to 24 by 2,400% to 727. Very, very soon, 1 out of 10 days, we have energy for free, or 1 out of 10 hours, correctly. We have energy for free available to consume from renewables, from the best, cheapest, and cleanest energy you ever can get. It's already there. Yeah, it's worth an applaud, I think. However, this has also changed the behavior, I would say, of the citizens of Sweden. We have been very, very much into dynamic tariffs already. We're trying to get use of the cheap electricity we are experience. We have our heat pumps, we have our EVs, and we are trying to get everything optimized. We would like to consume as much power as possible and electricity as possible when it's cheap. And this creates an enormous stress on the grids. Since we got such a new peaks and it comes in new periods of time. And what's happening right now also is that the grid operators, the ones that are owning our regional grids, they are implementing what we are called effekt tariffer in Swedish, power peak tariffs. Instead of fixed monthly fees, the citizens of Sweden now is experience a tariff for the grid costs based on how much power they are using. And this is to actually even out the consumption behavior of the residentials. And this is in direct conflict with the possibility to get access to the free energy. And this is what we are going to solve tonight. And we are going to follow a Swedish family and look upon their cost of electricity today and what we can do for them. This is the Ljungberg family. They have a utility bill, a retail bill, ett elhandelsavtal, where they have a cost of electricity coming every single month. And this is the cost we quite often talk about, we quite often address in the PV markets, but this is only 1/3 out of the total cost of electricity. They have another bill coming with a lot of surprises from the grid operator. And this bill actually stands for 70% already out of their cost of energy. And what we would like to do now is to launch the solution to take those 50,000 Swedish crowns familjen Ljungberg is paying every single year for electricity, and we would like to cut it in half. And we're doing this by introducing what we call, and now it's for real, we call the new energy. So forget about new solar, and we are not a new solar company anymore. We are now a new energy company, and we are an energy company. So what we are launching today is totally new features of Heartbeat AI, a monthly subscription where we have a lot of new functionality that is totally unique, that will cut the energy cost for families like familjen Ljungberg in half, with 50%, in combination with our exclusive utility contract, Dynamic Pulse, that gives the cheapest energy tariff on the Swedish market. This is what we can offer our customer to ensure that we can deliver the cheapest and cleanest energy to them. And I will explain how. So let's the Ljungbergs go new energy. What they have done now is that they took their house, they already have the heat pump, they already have their EV, but now we put some PV panels on top, we install energy storage solution with batteries, and of course we do install our hero, Heartbeat. And together with our new energy contracts and Heartbeat AI, we are optimizing their home. So we're starting with the first bill, the retail bill or utility bill, and we cut it by 75%. Quite substantial. And how can we do this? Well, if you look upon the household, we actually consume the energy by nature when it is as most expensive. So it's a matter of helping them optimizing how they are consuming energy from the grid. Yeah, now the clicker is a little bit slow. And this is a little bit of a complex graph, but I will guide you through it. So what we see here is the grid supply in green. This is when we are using energy from the grid. We have the battery, and battery, what we are doing with them, we are charging them. So we have the state of charge in the dotted blue line. They have the spot price still in the white line. We have the load, how much energy we are actually using. And then we have the feed-in, where we are actually pushing energy into the grid. And for this particular day, it's actually winter time, so we are missing the sun. But still, we can do a lot of magic. So what we are doing, we are actually charging the battery from the grid when the price is low during nighttime, when everyone is sleeping. We're charging the battery, we are using it during morning hours, when we have expensive energy, and then we actually have energy for free. It's so free this particular day that it is, yeah, thank you. It's so free this particular day that we can get paid to charge the battery. So we are charging it again while the prices are negative, and then we're actually selling it back to the grid. So we charge a little bit more than we need. We can sell it back to the grid and generate an earning for this family. And this is the real numbers from a real day we're showing here during winter time. So the battery can be used to earn money to reduce the cost of energy for familjen Ljungberg. And now we're coming to the second part. And I would say part one, we're already doing that with Heartbeats. But now is the new thing coming. So what have happened to familjen Ljungberg? They are unfortunately living in Elevius grid, so they already have the peak tariffs. So they have experienced their cost to the grid increasing from 24 to 25 by 11,000 Swedish crowns. Quite substantial. And this is due to that they have quite high loads with their EV and their heat pump, as many of the modern Swedish houses have. And we take that bill and we cut it in half. Still, with the same assets we did install to them to enable them to the reduction of 75% of the utility contract. It's still the battery, it's the PV, it's the heartbeat, and it's the dynamic pulse all together that making this happen. And what we have done here is that we are taking care of the peaks. Since what is happening in the Swedish households is that we are generating a lot of high peaks. Not for a long time, but they occur there during morning hours, especially when we are waking up. We would like to have some coffee. We would like to take a shower. We need hot water after, or the heat pump thinks we need hot water after we have taken a shower. So it starts to heat the hot water again, and so on. So we are consuming a lot of energy during morning hours due to our behavior. And then we are leaving our homes, we're heading to work. Then we're coming home again, and we have quite often an even higher peak. Since now the EVs out of range, we have used the battery to go back and forth. So we need to charge the EV, and we have the oven on that actually creates a quite significant peak. So we have high peaks, and now we need to pay for the peaks. But we can take care of them. So what we do is actually working with steerable assets and non-steerable assets. So the morning peak, we still would like to have coffee during morning time, right? To cut this peak, we can use the battery. So we charge the battery, as I said, during night, and by using the battery to optimize the peak load in the house, we reduce the morning peak. Without actually, the family doesn't have to change their behavior. They can keep the peace of mind. They can live as they used to live, but we taking care of that peak. And then during the daytime when they are away, and we remember we did charge the battery with free energy during this time, so we have a lot of energy in the battery when they are coming home. We can also ensure, we can do some behavioral peak shaving, but we will ensure that the controllable assets, like the EV, it's charging at the lower power. Since most often you don't need to go away right now. You don't need to charge it with 16 amps, you can charge with 6 amps instead, and then you cut your cost. And this is quite complex to control when you're combining the spot price and those different kind of peaks and trying to get as much possible out of it. But we will do it, and we will take care of everything from a holistic perspective and do a full optimization of the total cost of energy for the family. So if you look upon again, what did happen? They have the cost 24, family in Ljungberg, they did hit, unfortunately, the peak power tariff that caused even higher costs for them on the dark gray, the grid invoice. And then they could go for a market standard solution. They could realize PV is a good investment. Battery is good to have together with PV to reduce our electricity bills. However, this would major affect their utility bill, not the DSO bill. Actually, the case is when you're trying to chase the cheap hours, as I said in the very beginning of this section, you're increasing higher peaks. Since now they put on the battery, they would like to charge when the energy is for free. So what happened with them, for them, with this solution is that the DSO, the grid invoice, will be even more expensive. They did do a quite significant reduction on the utility invoice, but it got a higher grid invoice. And this is the main solution in the market. And this is how everyone else is operating, I will say, within our fee. And we will be, and are now, the only one that take care of everything. So instead of just going down from 50,000 to 36, we can cut it about 50%, and they will have an annual bill nowadays of slightly about 21,000. Quite impressive, isn't it? And then we have another family. This family, they thought they were responsible. So they did invest in PV 2019. In 2019 in Sweden, the PV systems were built like you should fill your roof with as many panels as possible, get as high peak as possible, since the business case was built on selling electricity to the grid. However, the market is changing. So this family, they have a lower energy cost, of course, since they have already PV on the roof. But they will face another challenge, since from the 1st of January, we are actually having a situation in Sweden where something called the 60 öre, a feed-in tariff, that you actually get paid for feed-in electricity from PV to the grid, will be removed. So that will ruin the business case for solely PV. So what's happening is that today they have a feed-in tariff of 98 öre in average. In 26 it will be 38 in average, and it will be a lot of hours they will have zero or even needs to pay for feeding in electricity to the grid. We are not only taking care of the first challenge for the customers with the current utility bill and the DSO bill, we're also taking care of this challenge for family, I actually forgot the name, but for this family. And we can increase the value of their sold electricity 3 times. So instead of having 38 öre, with our solution, we see that we're giving them, on the electricity they feed in, 116. So it's even better than they used to have. So with this solution, the PV investment is saved. It's still a very, very good investment they did a couple of years ago, and it's already paid back. But now it can continue being a good investment and a good solution to ensuring cheap electricity over time for this family as well, with this new solution. So what we did is not only taking care of the feed-in, so even for this family that already had PV on the roof, we can cut the electricity bills of 2026, the upcoming ones when we remove 60 öre, with 39%. And that's also quite impressive. And then we had a little bit announced already what is coming up, but it's a matter of also knowing how can I ensure as a customer, how can I feel secure that this is really happening to me. And then we have a super awesome app coming up that Fabian is head of, and he will show you that this is actually for real, this is actually happening now, and we have the first customers live in the app already.
All right. Hello. Hello, Malmö. I'm so very thrilled to be here. So my name is Fabian, and I'm leading the product management for Heartbeat Tech for 1KOMMA5. And I'm here for the fun part today. So because I have the honor to represent the brilliant work of our team, which the team put really tireless effort to bring Heartbeat AI finally to Sweden. So let's have a look at, wait for it, what David and Yannick just presented and see how this works out with a real customer. So I will try to do it in Swedish, guys. So ladies and gentlemen, dear Malmö, välkommen till ny energy. All right, please meet Emanuel's system. A real Swedish customer already live with Heartbeat AI. And you know what? Emanuel is probably smiling quite a lot today. Because when he looks and logs into the app, this is the first thing he sees. This is the current Heartbeat energy price. And for yesterday, look at this number. This was amazing, minus 149 euro per kilowatt hour. Lucky Emanuel, I would say. But how is such a price possible? Let's have a closer look, and here is the answer. So the answer is here. This is the spot price energy market for Malmö in Sweden. This is where Emanuel, but also all our other Swedish customers can observe the individual optimizations. And here is the magic. Heartbeat AI shows when it's decided to consume from the grid, represented in purple here, and also when it's feeding back into the grid, represented in blue. So yesterday morning, you can see here on the left side by blue, Emmanuel's system discharged energy from the battery to the grid while still powering the household, and then Heartbeat AI charged the battery here at the cheapest price point, combining it with the surplus of the solar system, of course, and later here discharged it back into the grid. Really simple, smart, optimized. And just to give you the example, let's go in there. So here we bought energy, and you see it at the top left at 33.2 euro per kilowatt hour, and we sold it back 10 times, 340 euro per hour. So on just this single day, Emmanuel earned back his investments 2 times. Holy shit, isn't this incredible? So this brought down the Heartbeat price to 148 euros per kilowatt hour. I guess it's a lot to digest, but there's more transparency just a fingertip away. So if I tipped here, this is the Heartbeat AI logbook. So the goal here is to make every optimization, what the system is doing, easily understandable, and also the reason why behind it. So it's a logbook. So Emmanuel doesn't need to know everything. He can just look in here and trace every single step Heartbeat AI is doing. But that was yesterday. What's happening in the moment? If we go here on the live view, this is what we see here. Emmanuel sees real-time energy and how the energy flows with instant insights. What's happening at the home at a glance, what's happening right now. And also having the opportunity to dive a bit more deeper here into summaries, comparisons, basically the control room for his optimization. Yeah, let's go back to the presentation. And that's just the beginning. We've connected We connected 100,000 homes and brought this experience into our own developed app. It's getting every day smarter, every day better, every day smoother. And with that, I'm handing back to David for the rest of the presentation.
And the app is super awesome. I'm super excited to get it by myself, actually. It's a pure upgrade from the previous app. And yeah, I can't wait to actually deliver it to our customers. So what was this all about? Well, it's quite easy. It was the message that we're now ready for real to deliver the cheapest and the cleanest energy to the citizens of Sweden. And I also would like to emphasize that our energy is 100% renewable. And we also did upgrade Heartbeat to be the last energy subscription you ever need. The customers, you're welcome to us, and you will find out this is the best place to be, so you better stay here. Thanks a lot.